What's up everyone, welcome back to another video. This video is going to be almost the exact same as one where I ranked and graded all the cities in Westeros. The only difference is we're going bigger, bolder, better, badder, more powerful. We are going to be grading and ranking every single city, every single free city. An important thing to note is that when I'm grading and ranking them, I'm grading them based on how much I would like to live there. So there are going to be some things that I would like that you guys might not. That's just how it's going to go. Now, I'm using a couple key metrics to grade each one of these cities, and I added one new one since last video. The first one is visuals. How well do I like how the place looks? Does it have like nice hills, sweeping meadows, or is it like gray, cold, and rainy all the time? The next one is climate. Does it rain a lot? Does it snow a lot? Is it hot? Is it cold? These are all very important things to know. Next up is economy. How much like trade is going on? Do they have like banks? Are they rich, poor? Next up is cleanliness. This is going to be the hardest one to judge because a lot of these cities we don't have any like viewpoints in. I believe the only free city someone has ever been to is Pentos, Braavos, and Volantis. So those are the only ones that we have like a concrete understanding of what the city looks like. All the other ones, it's going to be hard to judge. Then security, like how well are the walls built? Do they have guards? Do they have like a navy to protect them? Do they get raided a lot? All these important things to know when you want to live in a place. Then we have political climate, like how much influence do they have? Are they able to are they powerful in the region? Also, how secure are they politically? Like, are they prone to getting like usurped and like having a bunch of civil wars break out? Or is it kind of just, we elect a leader, good. And then the last one that I added, which is the new addition, is freedom, because the free cities do have slaves, most of them do. The ones in Westeros didn't, so I'm going to be ranking them based on like how many slaves they have and how well treated the slaves are. So like 10 is good job, you don't have any slaves. 0 is like, wow, your slavery is terrible, it's awful. Oh my goodness. Let's start off with the free city of Pentos. So, for visuals, we know that it's located on the coast and that there are flatlands and hills to the east. Other than that, we don't know much. 7.5 out of 10. Unfortunately, just not enough information for the city for me to accurately grade it. Same can be said for the climate. As far as we know, the city lies in the temperate zone with more moderate summers and winters. However, it's around the same high, like longitude and latitude wise as King's Landing, and we know it gets really hot in King's Landing. However, maybe Essos has like more mild summers. 7 out of 10. The economy is an interesting situation because we know that Pentos is involved in trade, but the city is not really like talked about a lot when it comes to trade. All the free cities are involved in trade. That's just what they do. They're all traders. And Pentos is not like, it's not like, oh, Pentos, yeah, that's the greatest trade city of all time. No. All we know is that they do a little bit more trade with King's Landing because they're so close together. So 8.5 out of 10. Cleanliness. The way that I'm going to be doing cleanliness is just, are they close to the water? And how much water is nearby? Pentos is on the coast, so there is going to be water nearby. The reason why I want water nearby is because where do you think the feces goes? It goes into the ocean, canals and drainage pipes and whatnot. It's near the ocean. However, it's on the coast. It's probably doesn't have that much. There's no rivers nearby. 6.5 out of 10. The security is an interesting dilemma because despite having massive high walls, the city is considered the most vulnerable of the free cities. I don't know who said that, and I don't know why. Maybe it's like, oh, we're the most vulnerable because of like political climate and whatnot. I don't know. All I know is on the wiki it said most vulnerable. So, unfortunately, that means that they're getting a 6 out of 10. Too bad, so sad. Wah, wah. The political climate of Pentos is, once again, hard to judge. We know that the city is ruled by the Prince of Pentos. However, it's a ceremonial figure. The magistrators are the real leaders, and they're elected by all the rich nobles. So they seem stable. However, they don't have much political influence around them. No one talks about Pentos that much. The only reason why we know about Pentos is because of Illyrio Mopatos, and Daenerys was in Pentos for like a little bit. 8 out of 10 for the political climate, and that's me being generous. And last but not least, we have freedom. Slavery is technically outlawed in Pentos. However, we all know that they still do slavery. Like, it's the free cities. What are you going to do? Not own slaves? What are you going to do? Pay them a living wage? No. 4.5 out of 10 for their freedom. The only reason they're not lower is because they're technically not slaves. Next up, we have the free city of Lys or Lice. I'll interchange it either way to make both sides upset and happy at the same time. Visuals is going to be absolutely stunning for Lys. It's located on a tropical island with deep blue seas nearby, the ocean waves crashing on the shore. It sounds lovely. It's like Hawaii. 9 out of 10 for visuals. I would love to vacation there. Likewise with the climate. We know that in the time of the Valyrian Freehold, Lys was like a vacation home for the Dragon Lords. So the climate's got to be good. Like everyone likes to live in Hawaii. Hawaii is a nice place to live in. So it's going to receive another 9 out of 10. And Lys keeps on winning because its economy is also stacked. They have tons of things to trade with. They have perfume, poisons, wine, tapestries, and the most valuable asset of all time, slaves. So for that, they're going to receive a 9 out of 10 because they just have so many goods that we know about, unlike Pentos. The cleanliness metric is also going to be in the favor of Lys. It's near the water, it's on an island, so there's going to be a lot more place to remove their waste on. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10, a little bit higher than Pentos, but still not amazing. Lys's security is a dilemma. It's right next to Tyrosh and Myr, and you know that those three cities love to constantly fight and kill each other. However, they use sellswords, so they might not die. That is nice. It's got strong walls, a nice navy to defend it. However, because of Tyrosh and Myr being so close by and they all hate each other, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. The political climate of Lys is going to be a bit better than Pentos in my opinion. They seem to have a lot more valued assets. They seem to be more into the slave trade. They seem to have more valuable stuff to sell. However, Tyrosh and Myr are nearby. They're vying for power. One side is not really more powerful than the other. So I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Still really good, but not amazing. Unfortunately, Lys drops the ball when it comes to freedom. These people love slavery. They love slaves so much. It's their best, favoriteest pastime in the world. They cannot let go of owning human beings. They have 3 times as many slaves for every free individual in the city. 3 out of 10. Unfortunately, you know me, I'm a huge abolitionist. I could not stand living in that city. All right, next up we have the amazing city of Tyrosh. And I said it before and I'll say it again. Tyrosh is just a worse version of Lys. All right, starting off strong with visuals. It's on an island. That's a plus. Everyone loves a good island. And it's right next to Lys. It's a little bit more north. I'm going to assume visual-wise it's pretty similar. Maybe not as tropical because we know that Lys is near the Summer Isles, and the Summer Isles are pretty tropical. That's really all we know about Tyrosh. It's on an island. So 8.5 out of 10 for visuals. Can't go any higher, can't go any lower. Once again, just like with the visuals, the climate of Tyrosh is probably pretty similar to Lys. It's a bit more north, so it's going to be either colder or more temperate. I haven't decided yet. And I'm going to dock half a point because I don't like the city. 8 out of 10. Unfortunately for Tyrosh, it does have a really good economy. The city has a rare type of dye only they own. They can export it nicely. They also have other good stuff, I believe. There's also a bank in the city, so it's like one of 3 cities to have a bank. That's an upstart. 9 out of 10 for economy. They're really kind of slipping back up top in the ranks, which I'm a massive non-supporter of. I really don't like Tyrosh. I cannot stress it enough how much I hate this city. The cleanliness is almost exactly like Lys. It's on an island, so they have water nearby. That's a plus. 7 out of 10, can't really say more. Unfortunately for Tyrosh, the security is also really freaking good. It sits behind massive stone walls, and they have a good navy to fight with. That's upsetting. However, they're constantly at war with Myr and Lys, so fights are going to happen. If you don't live in the city and you live in the outskirts, you're done for. Who knows, maybe they hire the Golden Company to take the city. It hasn't happened much, but it might happen. 8 out of 10 for security. The political economy is slightly worse than Lys because Tyrosh is unimportant and it's backwater and it sucks. I mean, the city seems politically stable, but it doesn't seem to be a political superpower, and it's not Lys, so it's going to receive a lower mark, 7 out of 10. Tyrosh also has slaves just like Lys. It also has almost the exact same kind of slaves, so we can assume it's got a 3-1 ratio and they have a ton of sex slaves. So that is not a good thing. That's bad. That's bad, guys. 4.5 out of 10. Only reason I'm not going lower is because, unfortunately, there are cities that are worse. Surprisingly enough, there are cities that are worse. But that is going to conclude the free city of Tyrosh. Next up, we have the free city of Lorath. Now, I was going to get into a big tangent about how much this place sucks, but I figure might as well just tell you everything about them, and you guys can decide for yourself how much you hate this city. For visuals, it is located on cold, stony, rocky islands. It's like basic and drab. It's like bleak, and like they literally describe it as bleak. It's like bleak, cold, and miserable. There's nothing interesting nearby. Imagine living in like northern Russia with like all those stony islands, or like northern Canada. Seems terrible. 6 out of 10. I gave it a 7.5, then I lowered it because I don't like living on rocks. 6 out of 10. The climate is not much better. It is bleak, stormy, rains a lot, cold, terrible. You're on an... It's like imagine living in Russia, but it's just worse. 5.8 out of 10 for climate. Lorath's economy is not much better, unfortunately. It is the poorest of the free cities, and its primary trade is fishing. It also does not trade that much with other places. Its economy is in shambles. 4 out of 10. Luckily for Lorath, it does come back a bit when it comes to cleanliness. It's near the ocean. I believe it sits on an island. Other than that, we know literally nothing about the city. 7 out of 10. Its security is apparently abysmal. The city is so poor it cannot afford a proper navy to patrol the waters, so there could be an army just coming in to storm the place and they would have no idea. At least they're so unimportant and poor and backwater that no one in their right mind would ever try and capture this place. 5 out of 10. The political climate is also abysmal. They're unimportant at best and bad at worst. I'm sorry, it's just bad. They at least have some form of democracy. That's nice. Seems slightly stable, but they're just a city on the waters. No one cares about them. 5 out of 10. The city is goated when it comes to not owning slaves. Lorath has no slaves. That is a W right there. Good job, Lorath. You get a 10 out of 10. Nice job, Lorath. You actually don't have slaves. I accidentally ended the recording, so if that was abrupt, sorry. I said that not having slaves is going to boost Lorath's rating quite a bit. Nice job. Alright, now we can move on to an actually good city. We have the one, the only, Braavos. Its visuals are going to start off strong. They have the Titan of Braavos. They're on a lagoon. They have like 1,000. It's the land of 1,000 isles. You have like all these cool. You have like these temples and palaces. Like the House of Black and White. Beautiful monument. Great work. There's like it looks like a great place to live. Stunning visuals. 9.5 out of 10. Unfortunately, it does not get better when it comes to the climate. We know that Braavos has really cold weather. It's always foggy and rainy, and it doesn't sound like a very good place to live. In Arya's chapter, she describes like the fog is like thick, and it's just like it's constant and it's cold and just it's. I don't think I would like it. The weather. 6 out of 10. Luckily for the city, it bounces back on the economy. Braavos is the richest of the free cities. It's got the Iron Bank of Braavos. It has the largest merchant fleet of all time. It has the most influence. The envoy of the Iron Bank literally went into a war zone in the middle of winter just so he could talk to Stannis. That shows just how economically dominant Braavos is. The dude went into a war zone. He went to an active siege. And he was like, hey, can we discuss the Iron Bank's loans to the throne? Dude, That shows the dominance of Bravos economical I don't fucking know what I'm trying to say. All I'm trying to say is that they're good, they're goated, they're amazing. 10 out of 10. That is the first 10 I have given, except I lied. Lorath got a 10 out of 10 on Freedom. Bravos is also extremely clean. It benefits from being a city like Venice, where it's on the waterways and there are canals to where you can chuck the feces into. So instead of going in the street, you can just hop over to a canal, just go, and everything's gone. 8 out of 10. The security of Bravos is also good. It's located way up in the north. No one, there's no one nearby. There's no real enemies. It also only has one entry point by sea, and it's a lagoon. So, you would have to come into sea either way. But if you wanted to sail like a war fleet, you would have to pass in through the Titan of Bravos. And the Titan of Bravos it's a statue, but it's also a castle in the way. It's got places like murder holes to throw down pots of boiling oil and stones and shoot arrows. So you can't get a navy there. If you want to go by land, you still have to get into the lagoon and build it. So you have to build a war fleet by scratch. It's almost impossible to take the city. So it's going to receive a 9.5 out of 10 for security. Bravos is also extremely dominant when it comes to the political climate of the area. Just the Iron Bank has massive influence over the world. The Sea Lord of Bravos seems to be a secure position. You're not going to get assassinated, most likely. Bravos it's economically dominant, which leads to political dominance because everyone kind of relies on the Iron Bank for banking. So Bravos is able to exert their influence. So that is going to be an 8.5 out of 10 for political climate. Last but not least, Freedom. And they are going to receive another 10 out of 10 because guess what? They don't own slaves. They don't own slaves. Good job, Bravos. I knew you were the GOAT. This is probably an example of George being biased. He essentially made Bravos the greatest city on earth and was like, oh yeah, the other ones, yeah, they just kind of suck. I'm running out of fun things to say when it comes to introducing each city, so I'm just going to be abrupt. This is Norbos, okay? It's a city. They do stuff. Visuals, it's hilly, super foresty, there's a river. That's about it. It's very generic. Imagine Germany, but in ASOS. 7.5 out of 10. I'm very sorry to all my Germans watching this. I don't find your place that appealing. Next up, we have the climate. It has sweltering summers and brutal cold winters. The economy is also pretty sad. They're known for tapestries. That's it. Nothing else. Tapestries. Just tapestries. Yeah, let's just go trade some tapestries, guys. Come on, let's be chill. Everyone wants our tapestries, bro. Tapestries. 5 out of 10 seems very, very, very meaningless. Oh yeah, bro. Tapestries. That's what they all want from us. Our tapestries. They're also really only known to trade with Lorath and the tapestries. Let's move on to cleanliness. They're near a river, but they're not near the ocean. That's bad. That's pretty bad. The river does not give much area to defecate. I'm sorry, but the rules are rules. 6 out of 10. It does have pretty good security. The upper city is very well defended. It's got high walls. The lower city has wooden palisades, moats and ditches and at least some defendable stuff. And if the lower city falls, you can retreat to the upper city and defend. So I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 for security. It does seem to have a bit of a turbulent political climate. The city is ruled by the bearded priest, so it is a theocracy. There's no voting. That sucks. Not very good. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 because it does seem stable. At least with the bearded priest in charge, there's not going to be 5 quintillion civil wars happening all at once. Freedom is really disappointing. I thought, Norbos might not have slaves, religious and whatnot. Nope, they're the bad religion that allows slavery. We know that they have slaves. Think about Arya Hota. He's effectively a slave. 4 out of 10. Volantis is a pretty important city. It's powerful, rich, all around interesting. However, the visuals, not the best. The hills surrounding the river that Volantis lies on seems nice. The land bridge is cool, I'll give it that, but it seems kind of boring. 7.5 out of 10 for it. Not a bad score, but not a great score. The climate of Volantis sucks. It seems terrible. The days and nights are hot, sweltering, humid. It's said that a man could drown in his own sweat in Volantis. That seems terrible. 4 out of 10. Volantis does come back when it comes to the economy. They have a great economy, like absolutely amazing. They're extremely rich. They used to be the richest free city until Bravos came around, so screw you, Bravos. They still have a really powerful trade fleet. They sell a lot of stuff. I don't know what they had that's like useful, but they're said to be extremely rich. They invested in the slave trade heavily. So all around they seem pretty good. 9.5 out of 10 for them. Despite Volantis lying on a river, it's going to get a really low cleanliness score because we know that elephants live in the city and like everyone uses elephants to travel around a lot and elephants shit a lot. So 5 out of 10. Volantis is pretty secure. The inner city is in massive 200-foot walls, thick enough where like 3 chariots could ride through. That seems very defendable. You're not really getting through that. The other cities have like, they have walls. They have the river that splits the two. So if there's like a siege, you have to siege both sides of the river and then prevent access coming through. That's nice, all fine and dandy. City's probably not going to get taken. It's got a massive war fleet, so you'd have to contend with that. So I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. Volantis also has an extremely good political climate. The city is the first one that we know of to have other tributary cities, although they're technically towns, yet all of them have more people than King's Landing. They have Volantis, Valisar, and Selhoris, all with 500,000 plus people. That's a lot of tax revenue right there. That's some good money source, good ways to exert your influence and power. They pretty much own the river that they live on, so that's nice. Volantis is also ruled by 3 triarchs, and it seems secure. They all really care about trading, except for that one time. So it just seems nice. They have a good sphere of influence in the surrounding region, so it's going to receive a 10 out of 10 for its political climate. Volantis has the most slaves outside of Slaver's Bay. For every 5 slaves, there's 1 free man. That is a terrible ratio. I'm sorry, that is awful. 2 out of 10. Cahors is, in my opinion, the most interesting of the free cities because not a lot is known about it, but it's also extremely rich, very powerful, and overall just weird and interesting. For visuals, it's important to know that it's on a river just like Norvos, and it's near a forest just like Norvos, so it's only fair to give it a grade just like Norvos. I believe on my list here, I have it at a 7 out of 10. Or 7.5. It's really hard to tell. I think a 7 out of 10 is the most fair one to give it. It's on a river and there's a forest. Not much else to say. The forest is really cool though. For climate, I have no idea what the climate is like. I'm going to assume it's better than Norvos. Just give it the benefit of the doubt because nothing is mentioned about it. So I got away with the option of like least extremity. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Surprisingly, Cahors has a great economy. It's one of the richest of the free cities. It's got a really good east-west trade. So, like, if you're going east to trade with Yiti, a lot of the land trade passes through Cahors. I don't know why. It just does. The forest of Cahors also provides a lot of valuable resources for Cahors to trade with. They have really rare pelts and animal skins. You have amber and tons of other minerals. And just the lumber itself is really useful. So I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 because of all these reasons that make Cahors extremely rich. When it comes to cleanliness, Cahors is very much like Norvos. It's on a river, it's not near the ocean, so it's going to receive security. The city has strong, thick walls and is guarded by unsullied. I feel like that combination is pretty good. The political climate of Cahors is very similar to Norvos in a way too. It is ruled by religious leaders. And also, I feel like it doesn't have a very large sphere of influence like other cities. So it's going to receive. And lastly, we have freedom. They have slaves, but not as many as other cities. 4.5 out of 10. Mir will top off the list as the last one to do before I get to the official rankings. For visuals, it's on the coast. And that's about it. So 7 out of 10. I'll be nice. We also know next to nothing about the climate. It's on the coast. It's hot or cold. It snows or it rains. No, it rains or it doesn't rain. 7.5 out of 10. Really nothing is known about this city. Except I lied. A lot is known about the Mirish economy. It is the most advanced of the free cities, so it's got really good artisans. You have like the glass blowers and the metal workers, and just all these amazing like artworks and technology that happens in the city. It also has a bank, so that's nice. Banking is great for gaining capital. So because of all security. The walls are not as thick as Lys, and it doesn't have like the defensibility of the place. However, they do hire a lot of free riders and sell swords, which does give them a little bit of a boost. So I'll give them a 7.5 out of 10. Mir's political climate can be summed up in 2 words: incredibly average. I'm sorry, they don't have much going for them. They're fine. 7 out of 10. Like, we don't know much about this city, okay? It's really hard to grade when they have like 3 sentences in the world, in the Lands of Ice and Fire. I'm sorry. It's also just the world of Ice and Fire. The Lands of Ice and Fire is the map. Freedom is not that bad. Mir has the same amount of slaves as Lys. However, they don't have as many sex slaves. They're all like skilled laborers. So that's nice. 4 out of 10. That will conclude Mir, and now we can move on to my rankings of all the 9 free cities. Alrighty, let's get started on the official rankings for every single free city. Starting at the bottom with a 5.9 out of 10, we have the free city of Norvos. In 8th place with a 6.11 out of 10, we have the free city of Lorath. Not very surprising for those two, neither of them are very good. In 7th place, surprisingly, with a 6.78, is Volantis. Makes sense, they have a ton of slaves, that kind of knocked them down. The weather also sucks. In 6th place, with a 6.85 out of 10, we have Pentos. Sorry, Pentos, you're not very good. In 5th place, with a 7 out of 10, we have Mir. Makes sense. Mir has some, they're good. In 4th place, with a 7.07 out of 10, we have Cahors. Kind of thought Cahors would be up there a little bit, considering how rich it is, but also visuals aren't great. In 3rd place, with a 7.5 out of 10, we have Lys. Does make sense. The visuals and the climate kind of carry on that. It also has a great economy and good political climate, so that's nice. In 2nd place, very surprisingly in my opinion, considering how much I dogged on it, with a 7.5 out of 10, 7.51 out of 10, so sorry, we have Tyrosh. Does make sense, they have less slaves than Lys, however, it is surprising. In 1st place, with an 8.6 out of 10, to no one's surprise, is the greatest city of all time, Braavos.